and the Running Rebels of University of Nevada at Las Vegas. Starting for the Wolfpack at forward, wearing number 41 to 6'11", a senior from Seat Pleasant, Maryland, is Thurl Bailey. At forward for the Running Rebels, number 21, 6'9", a senior from Brooklyn, New York, is Sidney Green. At forward for the Wolfpack, number 43 at 6'7", a sophomore from Brooklyn, New York, is Lorenzo Charles. At forward for Nevada, Las Vegas, number 22, 6'6", a senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Larry Anderson. At center for the Wolfpack, number 45, 6'11", a sophomore from Bennettsville, South Carolina, Cozell McQueen. At center for the Runnin' Rebels, number 50, 6'9", a junior from Glassport, Pennsylvania, Paul Brozovich. At guard for the Wolfpack, number 25, 6'1", a senior from Glenarden, Maryland, Derek Wittenberg. At guard for Nevada, Las Vegas, number 14, 6'2", 185, a junior from Las Vegas, Nevada, Danny Tarkanian. At guard for NC State, number 35, 6 feet tall, a senior from Washington, D.C., Sidney Lowe. At guard for Nevada, Las Vegas, number 24, 6'2", a junior from Phoenix, Arizona, Jeff Collins. North Carolina State head coach is Jim Valvano. Nevada, Las Vegas head coach Jerry Tarkanian.
Well, you bet the coaches and the players. North Carolina State 6th seeded at 21-10, and University of Nevada, Las Vegas 3rd seeded with the best record in the country, 28-2, and we'll be back with the opening tip-off in just a moment. Here at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis, Oregon, let's meet the officials who will be working this afternoon's second-round game. Ed Cartato and Jack Hannon from the ECAC and Bobby Dibler from the Western Athletic Conference. North Carolina State, red and white. They'll be in their red uniforms. Jim Valvano in his 3rd year at NC State. And there you see Green, Anderson, Brozovich, Tarkanian, and Collins. Bailey, Charles, McQueen, Wittenberg, and Lowe. A couple of good outside shooters on both sides.
Well, and Dick, you mentioned it first. When we walked into the gym the other day to watch UNLV practice, we noticed a completely different atmosphere than when we had them against West Virginia. They're very loose. They're ready to play. I don't think they feel any pressure. Let's see if they get off to a good start.
And the other thing, Steve, is that they're healthy. When we saw them against West Virginia, half the team had bronchitis or some sort of ailment, and they're practically all finished with those problems right now, although there are some knee problems with Eldridge Hudson, which we'll tell you about. The tip is controlled by NC State, and Sidney Lowe, one of the best point guards in the East.
I mentioned this in the opening, Dick. You'll be surprised throughout the ball game that UNLV plays very, very good man-to-man defense. They've been doing it for years. They've never been given credit for it.
Derek Wittenberg misses his first shot, and Charles banging inside. Lorenzo Charles. And we have a foul quickly on Brozovich. Good hustle by Charles.
Well, early in the ball game in the first round, this is where NC State dominated the game against Pepperdine. They got all the offensive rebounds. They started the ball game 0 for 11, got offensive rebounds on 8 of those possessions. You can see both teams are ready to play.
Charles just tore the ball out of Brozovich's hand. In frustration, he fouled him. And there's the shot by Lorenzo Charles, who set a career high for 14 rebounds against Pepperdine and 12 points in Friday night's game. NC State could not find the basket early against Pepperdine.
Dick, there was the key matchup. They're in a man-to-man. Now watch, Thurl Bailey is guarding Anderson, 6'11" against 6'8".
Anderson, the outside hope for UNLV, misses his shot. Wittenberg, Tarkanian on him on the man-to-man. Collins is guarding Lowe. Tark has to guard Wittenberg. Closely gambling for the steal is Collins. And Lowe can make it. Brozovich the rebound. And we have a foul call against NC State inside.
The foul number 43, Lorenzo Charles.
We want to remind the viewers that coming up in the East, they'll be seeing St. John's against Rutgers momentarily. Working against Wittenberg. Charles inside. Brozovic fighting. Anderson. And they may have a foul by Collins over the top. So the outside shooters are trying to get off to a start.
Right off the bat, Dick, Anderson's 0 for 2. But throughout the course of the season, he's been this type of player. He's had a lot of games where in the first half he'll go 0 for 7, 0 for 8. He'll shoot the ball continually throughout the game. They need him to shoot throughout the game. He can never be hesitant.
Wittenberg, too, has gotten off to slow starts and poor first halves, and he comes on as he did against Pepperdine. Opening minutes, 2-0 NC State lead.
Even though NC State played with that 30-second shot clock, I think in this ball game they would prefer to play a half-court game.
Thurl Bailey has his shot blocked beautifully by Anderson. Good defensive play. NC State still has it. The open man is Derek Wittenberg. And he hits his second shot. His first shot, and it's 4-0 NC State. Derek Wittenberg, explosive long-range shooter. He scored 22 Friday night. Sidney Green with his first shot of the game misses. Rebound, Kozo McQueen. Break, Bailey inside.
Now this is something you wouldn't expect to see. UNLV, which has come into this ball game saying they're going to run up and down the floor, getting beat down on the other end. So the transition right now in NC State's favor.
Thurl Bailey gets the basket. Sidney Green, who's going to be key. We'll see how they defend him. McQueen is on Green, who feeds Collins inside. So both teams are passing well off to the early start. Only 2.5 minutes gone by, first half.
It's so important when the big men get inside like that if they're good passers. Sidney Green has great hands, and you saw right there, people in the right place to get an easy layup.
McQueen, the clutch basket off a missed free throw Friday night. Charles Lowe facing Brozovic. And Charles gets it in. I'm sure that NC State wants to move on Brozovic because Charles is really tough in there.
Well, you know, he's been the player that has surprised both of us the most. In 3 of the last 4 games, he set career high in rebounds. He's been scoring of late. When he plays well, it gives them a completely added dimension.
Anderson doesn't have the shot. They're covering him. Collins makes his move to the hoop and scores. Jeff Collins, bit of a disappointment so far this year. Transfer from the University of Arizona and was not eligible till the second semester. He's averaging 11.5 points a game, third on the team, but they expect a little bit more from him.
And he's a funny player, Dick. He's a streak player, but he's not a streak player within any one game. He either plays well or doesn't play well. So it would be very important for him to get off to a quick start.
NC State leading 8-4. Lorenzo Charles double teamed by Anderson and Brozovic. Lowe goes to Thurl Bailey. Turn around by Bailey. The basket counts and a foul. And that should be on Brozovic. Thurl Bailey, 6'11", and very quick.
Let's go back down to the other end. Take a look at Sidney Green. Here's the great pass that he makes. Collins in good position. Once again, anytime you've got big men with good vision inside, when you get the ball in that position, they're going to score.
Well, he made that pass in the air. Personal was on Brozovic, his second, and already Sidney Lowe has 3 assists as Thurl Bailey misses the free throw. And a chance for the three-point play. The rebound by Sidney Green, 10-4 North Carolina State with 4 minutes gone by here in the first half.
NC State now into a zone. Now, in the Pepperdine ball game, they played a 2-3 trap zone, which was the key to the game.
Great defensive play by Wittenberg, 2-on-1, Lowe and Wittenberg, and they come in with a hook. Keep in mind that Sidney Lowe and Wittenberg, who got the basket there, played together at the Matha High School in Maryland. They know each other's moves in their sleep. Timeout with 15:41 remaining in the first half, and the Wolfpack have opened up an 8-point lead at 12-4. North Carolina State leading UNLV 12-4 in the first half with nearly 5 minutes gone by. NC State, surprise dark horse team from the Atlantic Coast Conference, trying to move against UNLV, third seeded. Our viewers in the East are going to be leaving us now to see the St. John's Rutgers game, the second round East region game of special interest in their local areas. St. John's Rutgers game coming up now. NC State has shot 6 of 9, UNLV 2 of 7 early on. Brozovic gets inside. Paul Brozovic, who's playing in place of Eldridge Hudson, who has the knee problems. He is a junior from Glassport, PA.
Well, Anderson and Green are the offensive keys for UNLV. Any type of contribution Brozovic can give them on the offensive end, it could be a key.
McQueen, Wittenberg. Collins on Wittenberg. You see Sidney Green is giving McQueen the shot. Tarkanian, though, not doing the same thing on the other side.
Now, you can see NC State got the floor spread. Now they've got Bailey. There's the key matchup. Anderson has to guard Bailey. He gives up like 4 or 5 inches.
Brozovic may have been hit with his 3rd personal foul. Jim Valvano, who brought Iona to the NCAA championships twice in his first appearance with the Wolves, second actually with the Wolfpack, and Brozovic has 3 fouls. That's bad for Tarkanian, Jerry, that is, because he does not have a solid bench.
And for those of you who have watched UNLV this season, that's a familiar sight. Brozovic has been the type of player, been in foul trouble in many games.
Turnover, Tarkanian feeding Collins, and this is the running Rebel who ran, as you mentioned, Steve, earlier in the year. When Hudson went out with injury, they kind of quit running because of all the ailments and problems. They decided to give people a rest, and they changed their style.
People sometimes forget the most important part of the fast break is the original rebound. That's what Hudson gives them. That's what they lack right now. That's why they're not running as much.
And Collins got a hand on the ball. NC State still has it. 12-8. The North Carolina State Wolfpack lead. And we will have traveling call against NC State, so UNLV can come within 2. And their rooters are out in force from Las Vegas, Nevada. 14-18 remaining in the first half. Dick Stockton and Steve Grody from Corvallis, Oregon.
Now, UNLV's the last 2 possessions for NC State, UNLV has forced 2 turnovers. One resulted in a layup, the other a traveling violation. They are a good man-to-man half-court defensive ball club.
As you pointed out, NC State is. Collins, Tarkanian. Tarkanian, the glue of the team. He makes the offense go. And Collins hits the jump shot. So Jeff Collins off to a good start. He is at 4 of his first 6, and 8 points is the high score in the ball game. And State lead is cut to 2. The shooting percentages. Wittenberg. So far, the inside is wide open. McQueen playing in the corner. Now he moves. Thurl Bailey setting a screen for Wittenberg. Fighting off of is at Anderson.
This is a bad situation now. They've got Bailey. Collins on Bailey. This is a real look at this now. He's wide open inside.
But Bailey can't get free. McQueen spinning around inside. NC State still has it. And the basket by Derek Wittenberg, who now has 6 points. He has missed just 1 of his first 4 shots. Reminiscent of the other night when NC State just kept getting the offensive board.
Well, in Wittenberg, in the Pepperdine ball game, he missed his first 3-4 shots, much like Anderson on UNLV. He has to keep shooting. You can see he's off to a hot start right now.
7 minutes going by, double teaming inside Sidney Green. He'll do that all day, but Green makes a fine pass to Eldridge Hudson, who's playing the ball game, and Hudson's second effort. The top high school player out of Los Angeles last year, Eldridge Hudson, a freshman who's had trouble with his knee since January 1st and is not 100%, but he plays anyway.
Nick, I think you would agree that the difference in the NC State ball club right now and the NC State club that beat Pepperdine, those type of things did not happen around the basket. They completely controlled play around the basket on both ends.
McQueen, reluctant to shoot, is fouled nonetheless. NC State, you always want to get away with the kind of game North Carolina State played the other night when they couldn't really get started. They were, in a way, fortunate to win because of missed free throws by Pepperdine. Didn't play well and win. When you don't play well and win, boy, that's a big break.
Well, that's the mark of a good team. You know, you get so many teams get criticized. You know, the great teams, they go out and they don't play well. They win by 5. They win by 7. They get criticized. Well, the mark of a great team is that they do win when they don't play well.
Larry Anderson committed the foul on Kozel McQueen. Team fouls right now, 5 against the Runnin' Rebels, only 1 for NC State.
Dick, you and I were impressed against Pepperdine also that NC State played better in that ball game with a 3-guard offense. Now Gannon is on the sidelines. He will be coming in for McQueen at the next stoppage of play.
Alvin Battle, who really showed well, very physical player, makes things happen, is into the ball game now. Following Hudson's miss, Sidney Lowe working against Tarkanian. And the one thing that Jerry Tarkanian told us yesterday is that my son, Danny's got to stay in front of Lowe. They don't want Lowe's penetration. So far, they've kept it out, and Tarkanian's assignment there has worked.
You're absolutely right, Dick. And they were a little bit surprised The reports that they had in the games they scouted, Lowe was much more active. He penetrated more and dished off more.
There is Terry Gannon, the third guard you were talking about, a sophomore from Joliet, Illinois, and I know UNLV doesn't mind seeing 3 guards out there for NC State.
They don't. It's a much better matchup now. They've got this is the matchup you got to worry about now.
Bailey, and we'll have a foul again, and this is against NC State. Thurl Bailey. That'll be his first personal foul.
Now let's talk about this matchup. Why isn't Green guarding Bailey when there aren't 3 guards in the ballgame? Well, Bailey plays a lot away from the basket. Okay, Green is the rebounder. They've got to have Green around the basket to bring down the defensive board. But with this lineup now, they'll switch the assignments.
NC State moved out to an 8-point lead. It's 3 right now. UNLV staying awfully close to North Carolina State. Atlantic Coast Conference champions. Danny Tarkanian, Sidney Green hits his first shots of the ball game. The high scorer on the team, Sidney Green, averaging nearly 22 points a game, led rebounding and scoring, and the lead has been cut to 1. UNLV has had to run the comeback route a lot this year.
Well, and that tells you a lot about a ball club. When you can, I don't know of teams that have come from behind that often and won.
They've had the charm, though, and even in the PCAA postseason play, Eldridge Hudson is called for the foul. That is the 16th foul against Nevada, Las Vegas. That's the 7th team foul, and now the penalty situation is into effect, and NC State will shoot.
The Rebels have been a ball club that's gotten off to a poor start. Now, they've come from behind quite often, but remember, they had the 30-second shot clock in their league, and I think down the stretch they were in a little bit better condition, and they've got good shooters.
Eric Booker, a junior guard forward from San Francisco. Jim Valvano has done a superb job. He's loose. He's personable. 37-year-old head coach for NC State. Booker has come in the ball game. He can rebound, shoot from outside. Larry Anderson doesn't make it, and Alvin Battle clears the rebound. 15-14. Anderson has missed his first 3 shots. They go inside low. Lorenzo Charles tipped up. Battle fighting. He's making a name for himself in this tournament. And a foul on Sidney Green from behind. Sidney feels he had all of the ball.
Now, Dick, let's take a look at this lineup as you watch the play. Now, from this angle, it's hard to tell. They're whistling body contact. We can't see from that angle. But let's take a look at the lineup they've got in there now. The 2 6'11" people, McQueen and Bailey, are out. Their big concern coming into this ball game was that UNLV is quicker around the basket. They won't be now with this lineup.
Alvin Battle is a 6'7" junior from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Played well against Virginia in the ACC title game. Former junior college All-American. The personal, of course, was on Sidney Green, and UNLV has been over the limit. 10:51 remaining in the first half. NC State has a 3-point lead.
Little full court pressure now by NC State, just to slow down the tempo.
Anderson has not hit a shot yet, and UNLV relies on his outside marksmanship. But you said early he's going to keep on going until he gets it right, and he does there.
And one of the reasons they've come back so often in the second half is that Larry Anderson never stopped shooting. In so many ball games, he's gotten hot down the stretch and been the key performer.
1-point lead for North Carolina State. Very tight ball game, nearly halfway through this opening period, and it's still NC State ball. Coming into the game now, back is Thurl Bailey, who took a short breather, and Alvin Battle goes out, and he did just what the name on the back of that red shirt indicated. He battled.
I think throughout the ball game you'll be impressed with Battle's performance and Charles inside. They're confident performers. Dick, this is my favorite NC State lineup. I like watching them play with these 3 guards.
Inside Bailey, double team with Tarkanian from behind, throws up an air ball. Green the rebound. Here come the Runnin' Rebels, trying to take the lead with 10 minutes going by. Eric Booker to Tarkanian. Booker's got experience. Anderson hit his last shot. Into Sidney Green. Bailey out to meet him. Sidney goes up with it, and University of Nevada, Las Vegas has the lead for the first time in the ball game. 18-17, 9:44 remaining in the first half.
I guess if I was a coach, I'd be a little flustered. I want the opposition to take the shots that UNLV is making. This is going to be an interesting ball game.
Always let the team beat you from outside, and the question is, can they do it for a whole game? Rarely does that happen. Bailey working inside against Eldridge Hudson, and now Danny Tarkanian. Now, Tarkanian has 4 assists, and so does Sidney Lowe, the 2 outstanding point guards in the game. Eldridge Hudson misses from the corner, and here comes NC State after Lorenzo Charles rebound. Terry Gannon, Derek Wittenberg, short there. Bailey couldn't keep it alive, and UNLV looking, as you mentioned earlier, in practice yesterday and in this game, confident, assured, and crisp. Green misses there. Lowe comes down. Here come the Wolfpack running.
They're running right now. I'm a little bit surprised.
Thurl Bailey, that's the 6'11" big reach that reminds people so much of the former Clemson star Larry Nance, now playing in the NBA. State has the lead again.
It's going to be interesting throughout this ball game when they've got the 3 guards in there, NC State. Will they decide to run with UNLV? Right now they are. They're coming out on top. That's
the way they play. Anderson missed outside I should say, and Eldridge Hudson with the inside play. Keep in mind, he has problems. I think they think it's a torn cartilage with the knee. First they thought it was a hyperextension. There you see the upset, Memphis State over Georgetown, 66-57. Upsets in some circle, I would think. Lorenzo Charles to the move inside, tipping it and missing it. Bailey. 20-19, Nevada, Las Vegas can open up a 3-point lead. They do. The basket. Let's see if it counts. It does not count, apparently. No basket.
On the replay, Dick, I think you're going to find that this is a good call. There's the foul right there. Long before he let the ball go.
Sidney Lowe committed the foul his first. Here's another look at it.
There it is again. Long before the shot was taken.
Lowe and Tarkanian, one of the best point guards in the East and West. Timeout. Jim Valvano, North Carolina State, has gone to the tournament 4 times the last 5 years as a head coach.
I think Valvano's a little frustrated right now. Everything he's tried has backfired. When he goes with the 3 guards, he's getting beat on the boards. When he goes with the big lineup, he's getting beat down the floor. They've gotten easy jump shots. You made the point, though. Most of the Rebels' baskets have been from the outside. Can you win over 40 minutes with that outside jumper? We'll find out.
They may have to. Ernie Myers, number 31, a 6'4" freshman from Manhattan's in the game for NC State. Sidney Green determined to go up with a shot and a foul. That's going to be the 4th team foul against North Carolina State, and it's on Kozel McQueen, the center, his first. Ohio State defeated Syracuse 79-74, ruining Syracuse's chance of playing the regional on their home floor at the Carrier Dome. So Ohio State will now play defending champion North Carolina next week.
And Dick, as you know, Eldon Miller at Ohio State has just never gotten the credit he deserves. They finally like him in Columbus. He's done a great job down there this year.
Sidney Green has 5 points and 5 rebounds, more than anyone else in the game. And right now, Nevada, Las Vegas will try to open it up to a 3-point lead, which would be the biggest lead of the game for them.
Sidney Green had to go down there and tell Collins to take the right position on the free throw lane. They pushed the NC State guy out of the way. Let my man in there.
Sidney Green, the second all-time scorer and the all-time rebounder for Nevada, Las Vegas. All-American performer. Now Tarkanian and Lowe. Watch that point guard duel all day. 7:35 to go in the first half. Dick Stockton, Steve Brody, we're in Corvallis, Oregon.
I don't think you're going to see Tarkanian take the ball from Lowe. However, he did his job right there. Pressured him a little bit.
Ernie Myers missing.
And all they're attempting to do in that matchup is to pressure a little bit so they don't get the ball down the floor and get into their offense right away.
UNLV shooting better than they do during the regular season. North Carolina State under their percentage. 22-19, Nevada, Las Vegas. 28-2 in the regular season, PCAA champions. And outside, Sidney Green is short. Lowe. 7 minutes to go in the half. Lowe try to penetrate there. Loose ball, and we'll have a foul. It'll be against Nevada, Las Vegas. Maybe on Sidney Green. It's his second personal foul.
The foul, number 21, Sidney Green. That's his second
Dick,
foul.
we've got 3 guards in the ball game again. I think it's interesting to note the difference between Gannon and Myers. Now, Gannon's the type of player who can come in 3, 4, 5 minutes and make a contribution. He's a great shooter. Myers, on the other hand, is a scorer. He needs playing time to get his points. When Wittenberg got hurt, he was the leading scorer and, in fact, is the second leading scorer on the ball club. Let's watch his play now. Let's see if he gets minutes.
He scored 35 points against Duke, the most points ever for a freshman in an Atlantic Coast Conference game. He's out of Manhattan. When he started, he averaged nearly 20 points a game. Hudson the rebound on the missed free throw, 22-20. UNLV leading by 2. Close game throughout. NC State had the early lead by 8. Nevada, Las Vegas has come back. Eric Booker. Hudson turnaround. Showing the form that made him the top prospect coming out of L.A. From Carson, California. 3 of 5 from the field. 4-point lead, biggest of the game for the Runnin' Rebels. McQueen shuffles it in below. No basket, and they'll call an offensive foul on Lowe. I tell you what, I think Valvano told Sidney Lowe, time for you to really try to penetrate. That's what he's done the last 2 times down the floor.
Let's take a look at the play. It's going to be a good call, and we've seen this call a couple of different times in this region, and it's usually the one that the officials don't make. The offensive player originated the contact. It was a good call. It was a charge.
Jerry Tarkanian, the winningest active coach percentage-wise, 80%. This is his 15th year, 10 at UNLV. So Nevada, Las Vegas playing solid, sound basketball, opening up a 4-point lead, doing the job off the boards. Danny Tarkanian in the green, and the ball stripped away by Thurl Bailey and picked up by NC State's Charles. Bailey made the play. And now they call a foul on Danny Tarkanian.
I don't think you're ever going to be able to reach that much and not get and be able to get away with it. The important thing to me, I was most impressed with NC State's quick hands on defense in their half-court zone against Pepperdine. You saw the great penetration and the good pass, but the quick hands resulted in a steal. They'll come down and shoot 1-and-1.
You know, Steve, that was the first turnover by Nevada, Las Vegas. That's what kind of an error-free game they've been playing. And there on the free throw line, Lorenzo Charles, strong, aggressive. He was forced to go inside when Derek Wittenberg suffered a broken foot and missed 14 games this year.
You talk about the error-free play of Nevada, Las Vegas. Therein lies the importance of Danny Tarkanian. He's not a big scorer, but they need him in there to run the ball club. And as we mentioned, his defense on Sidney Lowe will be an important factor in this game.
1 of 2 for Charles, 24-21. Under 6 minutes to play in the first half. We're at Gill Coliseum, Corvallis, Oregon. Round 2 of the West Region. 3rd seeded Nevada, Las Vegas against the 6th seed NC State, Atlantic Coast Conference champs. Hudson off the bench has 6 points. Tarkanian in one of his rare shots missed. And here comes State to try to narrow it to 1. Low. Wittenberg hasn't shot in a while, notice?
He sure hasn't.
Charles inside. 2 Rebels, Booker and Green fighting for it.
Everybody knows Wittenberg is a great outside shooter. In my mind, he's more dangerous with the ball than Lowe is.
Lowe's been having the ball.
Yeah, I would like to see the ball in Wittenberg's hands a little bit more if I was an NC State fan.
And another turnover by the Runnin' Rebels. Tarkanian is on Lowe. Wittenberg guarded by Collins, who's awfully quick. Bailey out. Sidney Lowe, long-range shot hit. Sidney Lowe from outside.
You could almost tell that was going in when he left it go.
He looks like a tank. He and Wittenberg look like a couple of tanks in there.
They're bookends, aren't they?
Fine game so far for Sidney Lowe, the senior guard. He has 5 rebounds and 5 assists. 4:52 remaining in the first half. Thurl Bailey led NC State scoring, rebounding for the 3rd year in a row, but he's off to a slow start. How key is he now?
Well, you know, he's such a good passer. He's a good scorer inside. And what so many teams will do is they'll throw it inside to their inside scorer, Bailey, but I think they need to put Wittenberg on the same side. Bailey's good at getting it inside and hitting it back out quickly, but it's generally been the Low. Wittenberg's the better shooter. I'd like to see those 2 guys on the same side.
And it's not that UNLV is denying the pass to Wittenberg. That's not the case. Runnin' Rebels in white, leading by 1 point.
NC State in a half-court 2-3 zone.
Tarkanian, top of the key, and the rebound, Thurl Bailey. So a chance for the Wolfpack to regain the lead here. They were down by as many as 4 points. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the half. Wittenberg. Now it's Lowe from Washington, D.C. Hudson is on Bailey. Man-to-man defense for the Rebels for the most part of this first half.
To me, this is an important possession. This is NC State's game plan.
Trying to save the ball is Collins. Almost does. Ernie Myers comes in with a short jumper, batted down by Sidney Green. Wittenberg shooting over Collins. Tipping up and missing was Cozell McQueen, and it's going to be a foul against McQueen of North Carolina State. And he is not at all pleased with that. Inside play.
Well, I was about to say, I thought this was a key possession because you saw NC State take their time. They want a half-court game. They want to run some time. They want to make UNLV play defense. They had good movement. They passed the ball well, but they did not score. They did not take the lead.
3:35 remaining in the first half. 24-23 Nevada, Las Vegas. 28-2 on the year. Won their first 24 games. Were ranked #1 for a while. Not a good year for #1 teams. They haven't got knocked off. Sidney Green double teamed inside. Look at that move. Look at the move by Sidney Green from Brooklyn, New York.
Dick, this is a fun game. And we're seeing the UNLV team that I was excited about seeing when we had them earlier in the year. This is going to be a good ball game right down to the wire.
Lowe penetrates, the thing that Jerry Tarkanian warned his team against, and Lowe burns him again. So Sidney Lowe has 4 points in the ball game. Leading scores, Bailey and Wittenberg for NC State 6. Sidney Green has 8. And we'll have a Wolfpack foul, maybe against Ernie Myers. And that's the, or is it Lowe? Let's see.
Well,
this is a big one right here. It's against Sidney Lowe, and that's his 3rd personal foul. And the 7th team foul against NC State, and UNLV will go to the line.
See, they were trying to claim that it was Myers that fouled him. You know, they didn't want that 3rd foul on Lowe. I was at a bad angle from our position. I don't know who hacked him.
Paul Brozovic back in the game.
Number 12 is George McClain.
And George McClain into the ball game for North Carolina State. Lowe goes out with 3 personal fouls. He scored 4. Jeff Collins hits the front end. So McClain, a 6-foot freshman from Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
We talked about Collins. You know, he was a transfer, unable to play the first 7, 8 ball games. But let me tell you, the first time he played in, he made his mark, 25 and 18 in his first 2 ball games at UNLV. He's had a good first half. You know, there aren't many players out there who haven't played well.
You know, you talk about Collins. He is best in the transition game. Sidney Green coming back in the ball game. He was out briefly. Brozovic sits down. Collins is better when they run. We saw UNLV when they didn't run, and Collins was really ineffective in it.
He was completely out of the ball game.
9 points in the ball game. The season's average is 11.5. 27-25. Rebels lead. Eldridge Hudson. Foul inside. And going to the line, UNLV, the foul was on Terry Gannon, his first personal.
Dick, this is something I don't see many teams do. To me, the best place to attack the zone is on the baseline. Because when the ball goes to the baseline, the defense turns their backs to the basket. And so the offense has open lanes right through the hoop. That time he made the good pass to Sidney Green coming in from behind.
Sidney Green has 9 points, 5 rebounds, and is perfect 3 for 3 from the free throw line. Jerry Tarkanian calls on Sidney to do everything. So we'll go as far as he can take us. He also spent 3 days in the hospital with bronchitis. So we're seeing a healthy Sidney.
We talked about him at the top of the show. We knew he had to play well, and he's having a very fine first half.
UNLV has matched its biggest lead. Not much, actually, 4 points, but they'll take it. A turnaround by Thurl Bailey, and Steve Brody said they've got to go to Bailey for that shot. And NC State trailing 29-27. 2 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the first half. Very tight throughout.
When Bailey gets the ball in that position and converts that jump shot, that's when the outside opens up, because they'll have to come inside.
Hudson, air ball, Wittenberg the rebound. Terry Gannon, they got the 3 guards in there. McClain, reverse layup, chases it, and Nevada, Las Vegas will take over.
I think this might have been a missed call. I thought it went off the UNLV player.
I think Jimmy Valvano may side with you on that observation.
He's sure of it. I think it was bad. He knows it was.
And you know, he had a better view than you did. He's on that side. You see the clock, less than 2 minutes to play in the first half. 29-27, Nevada, Las Vegas. They have something to prove. They want to knock off an Atlantic Coast Conference team. Larry Anderson, head eye. Anderson is 2 for 8, but he'll keep shooting, and a 4-point lead again for Nevada, Las Vegas.
It's going to be interesting to look at the shot chart at halftime to see where, in fact, the UNLV baskets are coming from.
They got a few inside, but they've been really going to the perimeter. Tarkanian. Anderson, this is this time. NC State looking to run with it, and Wittenberg slows it down. Lorenzo Charles inside, and the foul before the shot. Lorenzo Charles inside. You know, those people that have said that NC State, because of the three-point arc in the ACC, is strictly a perimeter shooting team, have not seen some of the muscle guys on this.
They are big and strong around the basket. You know, and like I said, we've been most impressed with this guy, Charles. We haven't heard much about him coming into the tournament, but he's very, very strong around the basket. He's confident, and he doesn't take bad shots. He knows when the play's not there and gets it back out.
He is a 6'7" sophomore from Brooklyn, New York. Doesn't make it on the line, and UNLV with a 4-point lead with 1:05 remaining. Tarkanian working against Gannon. Sidney Green, who has 10 points, the high score in the first half. Collins with 9. Bailey with 8 leads NC State.
It would appear UNLV will play for the last shot now.
And a wise move in a very close ball game. They have matched their biggest lead of 4 right now. NC State took a 12-4 lead early on.
Just be careful. All the NC State guards have quick hands defensively.
35 seconds to go. Tarkanian goes low to Sidney Green. Turnaround and a good percentage shot for Sidney Green. And the biggest lead of the ball game for UNLV, 33-27.
Well, anytime you play for the last shot, you'll take the good percentage shot if it comes.
Right.
That's what they did.
Last shot is really the best shot, isn't it?
You got it.
15 seconds. Now let's see the man-to-man for UNLV. I'm impressed with the Runnin' Rebels in this first half. I know you are. 9 seconds to go. Terry Gannon, he's a good outside shooter. Tarkanian's all over him with 3 seconds. Fires it up. And that'll roll basket. And so UNLV played for the good shot to Sidney Green, and then coming down, played tight man-to-man defense. And at the end of the first half, 33-27 UNLV leads. Your view, Steve?
UNLV played great half-court defense. I'm interested to look at the play-by-play. I think there were 3 or 4 occasions when NC State came down with a chance to take the lead. They never did it. I think that wears on you. I think you lose confidence down the stretch when you don't make the big play.
All right, so Nevada, Las Vegas at 28-2, the best record in the country, has their biggest lead of the ball game at halftime. And CBS coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word from your local station. We're back here at the Western Region second round, and Steve, quickly, let's go to the scoring summary.
Well, the big story here, that, you know, from the field, they're only 11 for 31. You're not going to win in the NCAA tournament shooting that percentage. That's the big story on NC State's part. Now here, Anderson, of course, just 2 for 9, but he will continue to shoot in the second half. He's had many games where he's gotten hot in the second half. We talked about Green at the top of the show. We felt that he had to have a big half, a big game. He's done just that. I'm excited. We've got a good game going here.
We sure do. No one has really opened it up. CBS coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word from your local. Dick Stockton and Steve Grody back in Corvallis, getting set for the second half. UNLV will take the ball out. It's been a well-played game. Few mistakes. Only 5 turnovers for both teams in this entire contest. And the free throw shooting, you talked about the field goal shooting, is also a factor.
Well, you picked it out. Yeah, they're only NC State's 5 for 11 from the free throw line.
St. John's over Rutgers at the half, 29-28. So the Scarlet Knights are playing the top-seeded Redmen in the East, awfully tough. Danny Tarkanian hits his first shot. And an 8-point lead for UNLV coming out, and there's another score. Indiana over Wayne Tisdale and Oklahoma 34-22. That's the second half of the Midwest. That ball drops for Cozell McQueen. And another score as the regionals come hot and heavy at you. Iowa over Missouri by 10 points, second half Midwest region.
Whoa, that's a surprise right there. You've got to love the job Bobby Knight's doing with his big guy out in there. Names escaped my mind.
Ted Kitchell. Well,
Ted Kitchell, that they lost.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When you get to tournament time, look for Bobby Knight. Larry Anderson, they look for him for outside shooting, and Anderson showing confidence. Even though he is 3 for 10, he's got to be a threat, and NC State has to be aware of him. That's why he'll keep shooting. And the biggest lead, 8 points, matches that. Down to 6 again, and that was Charles, Lorenzo Charles. Anderson hits another one. They're coming quickly now, and the pace is speeded up dramatically here in this opening minute of the second half.
Dick, you can lose the ball game during any 4 or 5 minute stretch of the 40 minutes. But I've always felt that the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half were important. And I think it's key that UNLV started out quick here. They've got to be confident now in the perimeter shooting.
Low penetrating, the ball knocked away. Let's tell you who's out there. Cozell McQueen, 45, is the center. Lorenzo Charles, 43. Thurl Bailey, 41 up front. Derek Wittenberg, 25. And Sidney Lowe, who you just saw, 35 for NC State in the dark uniform. Tarkanian on low. Collins watching Wittenberg. Notice how much room Green gives Cozell McQueen. Lorenzo Charles outside.
Now, to start the second half, NC State has gotten 2 baskets, which we haven't seen them get in this regional. They got an outside shot from McQueen and an outside shot from Charles. I just really believe they got to get the ball into Wittenberg's hands a little bit more. That's what it seems like. That's when all the good things happen.
Larry Anderson is red hot. He has hit 3 in a row. And a 41-33 lead for Nevada, Las Vegas. And if Anderson can hit from outside effectively, that'll take a lot of pressure off the inside play of Sidney Green and just open things up. Foul against UNLV. And it'll be on Larry Anderson, his second personal foul, and the first team foul of the second half. Here is Derek Wittenberg. And Lowe, the bookends, they call them, in the backcourt. Lowe and Tarkanian, by the way, the 2 point guards we've been watching, each have 7 assists.
Now, I've said it a couple different times throughout the ball game. The reason I like the ball in Wittenberg's hands a little bit more, I think he's a little more effective scorer off the dribble. Lowe's more of a passer. He's going to dish. And when the game got tough the other night against Pepperdine, they came from behind when Wittenberg had the ball.
Great man-for-man defense for UNLV. They are really bottling up NC State. Sidney Green throws up an air ball, and it's picked off inside. But UNLV's man-to-man defense is really befuddling North Carolina State. Collins particularly doing a good job on Wittenberg. In the lane, Lorenzo Charles. Charles again. We saw the second effort against Pepperdine, Steve.
Well, to me, that was their advantage coming into this ball game. Oh.
They're all out of the court, on the floor, legs tangled, and they're going to probably have to take a little bit to get up. That's Charles and Collins.
It still seems to me like the teams are a little bit tired. The ball's going up and down the floor, but it's going up and down at kind of a slow pace. People just are not picking up on defense.
Foul was on Charles, his second personal. And the first team foul now on NC State. On the line is Jeff Collins. One of the big changes from what we saw against West Virginia is the improved play of Jeff Collins. This is the first.
You did that the other night, too, as soon as you said something good about a guy.
I tell you.
It never fails, does it?
I'm the kiss of death. There's no question about it.
He's got 9 points on the day. Boy, oh boy, that's big help. That's big help.
7-point lead. Biggest lead for UNLV has been 8 points. 16 and a half minutes remaining in the second half. Dick Stockton, Steve Brody. Winner of this game moves on to Ogden, Utah. And a steal. Boy, did he strip the ball away. That's Collins. No basket, steps call. He might have been intimidated by big Cozell McQueen. He's bigger, 6'11" behind. What do you think?
Well, this is a great steal. Watch the quick hands. Good, no whistle. Now, when you're being trailed by a big guy, you've got to shoot a reverse layup. I'm not convinced that was a walk to begin with. He came to a jump stop, but the key is when you're playing against a shot blocker, use the rim to shield. Shoot the reverse layup.
Foul inside, Eldridge Hudson. Fouls Thurl Bailey. Third personal on Hudson, who has not started. He began the year as a starter. He's had all those knee problems we were telling you about, but now he has 3 personal fouls. And coming in is Eric Booker. who plays the wing. He was eligible immediately. Came from USF. They dropped basketball. And he went to UNLV, was eligible immediately. And also coming into the ball game for NC State is George McLean, the freshman guard who saw action. And Hudson goes out. He has scored 6. Bailey for 2.
Dick, very interestingly, North Carolina State did not get a point off the bench in the first half. None of these people made a basket. We're talking about Gannon. We're talking about McLean. Gannon, Myers. They did not get a point off the bench.
Right now, NC State is 5 of 12 from the free throw line. Now 5 of 13. You can't lose a game from the line, Steve, in this tournament. You have to shoot well from the free throw line.
I would be willing to guess, and I'm convinced that when you get to the Final Four, you're going to find teams that are probably shooting about 70% from the line as a team.
Sidney Green making a move inside, and he did it over Thurl Bailey. That was not an easy task. He had to arc it over Bailey, and the biggest lead now for UNLV, 44-35, and Sidney Green, 14 points, well on his way to a season's average. 15 and a half minutes to go, second half. Low. Bailey, now low again. Danny Tarkanian on him. And a foul in the lane. Low wants to penetrate. Tarkanian trying to protect it, and he commits his 3rd personal foul.
Now, I think the mistake Danny makes right here, he's maybe a little bit too tight on Lowe. Lowe's looking to go to the basket. He's not going to up and shoot the jumper. You can give pressure without being over-aggressive and let him get by you.
That's Alvin Battle into the ball game. UNLV getting set for a substitution.
Now, if I confuse some people a second before, none of the people off the bench for NC State have scored a field goal. They've gotten a few free throws. Myers has got 1, Battle's got 2, but they haven't had a basket from anybody off the bench. Only 4 people scored from the field in the first half for NC State.
Lorenzo Charles, triple team, in trouble. Finds Wittenberg. But I'll tell you, look how quick UNLV is. Wittenberg could not get the shot off. He gets the foul now and will go to the line. But they triple teamed the big man, and Wittenberg couldn't get the shot off. Eric Booker commits his 1st personal foul. And coming into the ball game for UNLV is Gary Graham, a freshman guard from Baltimore, and that's just to give Danny Tarkanian a rest. Graham, brother Ernest, plays for the University of Maryland, played with my high school team Dunbar last year.
Well, that's what has impressed me that last play about Charles. He got triple teamed. He didn't turn it over. He didn't make a bad play. When you got a big guy with that type of ability inside, is going to open things up for Wittenberg on the perimeter. He's got to get back in the ball game, Dick. Wittenberg's got to be more aggressive offensively. I look for him to go get the ball. Hey, throw it here.
3 for 6 from the field, but he comes on late. We saw that against Pepperdine, and they're going to call a foul on the defensive player for NC State coming up right now, and that is Sidney Lowe. For Lowe, that is his 4th personal foul. So Jim Valvano has a big problem now. His ace point guard, the man he depends on, has 4 personal fouls, and right now this is a crucial moment. Thurl Bailey will go back in, and Lowe will go out. So the 3-guard offense now becomes a 2-guard set, and this is a story to follow now. So Lowe in trouble foul-wise for the 2nd game. Graham misses.
I don't know what.
What's he upset about?
I don't know. He's really an interesting character, isn't he? I like Jerry.
He's a delightful guy. He's been successful. A lot of people may resent his success. Other coaches around the country. He's had his problems on probation at Long Beach State and at UNLV, but you can't argue with the results.
On the floor, he's been one of the best.
45-37, under 15 minutes to go, second half. NC State trying to get back. Wittenberg and Graham, the freshman, on him. We'll see what Wittenberg does with the freshman Graham guarding him. Battle. And a whistle away from the ball, and Graham commits the foul. And we'll take a timeout. Graham commits the foul. 14-46. 45-37, UNLV leads. Jerry Tarkanian and his son Danny Tarkanian, number 14, and Larry Anderson, who hit his first 3 shots of this half.
Now, he stretched a 3-point lead into an 8-point lead. The first 5 minutes are so important. UNLV, they have set the tempo.
Another thing to watch, Sidney Lowe on the bench with 4 fouls. When he committed his 3rd foul, UNLV's lead was 1. He went to the bench, and the Runnin' Rebels opened it up to 6. Now let's see what happens when he's on the bench, and it's an 8-point lead for Nevada, Las Vegas. Can they take advantage with Lowe on the bench? But right now, NC State with the ball. Wittenberg.
The match. Oh.
Battle inside. Throws it up wildly. Bailey underneath has it. Blocked inside by Sidney Green. Off McLean. UNLV ball. They're playing terrific defense. Make no mistake about it.
It's been Sidney Green. It's the Sidney Green story. Block the shot, get the rebound, score. He's done it all.
And the guards, they are switching off. They are picking up the man so well. This is a quick team. Watch Eric Booker, who is a hero in the PCAA championship game with a big 3-pointer. He's got experience. Larry Anderson puts it up, and he hits it. They're gaining confidence, Steve.
And during the timeout, we talk. I'm interested to see that matchup now. Will they go inside to Bailey to pick up Anderson's 3rd foul? Can Bailey on the defensive end shut Anderson down? He's hot.
There's McLean with a tough shot. UNLV had the biggest lead of 10, now back to 8 again with 13:45 remaining in the second half. Graham, the rookie, and the freshman in the pressure of the NCAA second round. Sidney Green blocked beautifully by Alvin Battle. I like the way he's played. We talked about Charles, but Alvin Battle has shown well in this championship.
And this is what NC State does so well. They block a lot of shots, but generally the block shot comes from help defense. They shut the man down one-on-one. They get good help from their jumpers.
UNLV keeps it. Booker, very experienced player, maybe one of the best 6 men in the country. Keep in mind, Danny Tarkanian, the point guard's been on the bench. Larry Anderson, not that time. Brozovic tried to keep it alive, but it's going to be NC State ball.
They take a look at the field goal percentage. UNLV's got a hot hand right now.
And they're working for the good shot. They're going to Green and moving it out to Anderson. But on defense is where I really admire what they're doing right now.
Well, UNLV has always played great man-to-man defense. They've just never gotten the credit for it.
Wittenberg trying to take advantage of the freshman Graham. Had a great move to the hoop and draws the foul inside.
To me, Dick, that is the key right there. I'm convinced that Wittenberg can consistently beat his man to the basket. He's an offensive threat. He's got the passing skills and the court vision like Sidney Lowe does. Let's look for him to do that.
Danny Tarkanian comes back from his breather, and Graham, the freshman, goes out. He did not hurt the team. They're up by 8 points. Danny is in, but Collins is the man that has to watch Wittenberg, and Collins remains on the bench for the Runnin' Rebs. The foul was on Brozovic, his 4th personal. And here's Wittenberg.
Excuse me, Dick. This might be the first time in quite a while where they've had their original starting lineup. They're in there with the big people. McQueen, 6'11", Bailey, 6'11", Charles, 6'8" inside.
Wittenberg doesn't go for him. Green the rebound. Big story. Sidney Lowe on the bench with 4 personal fouls. Coach on the floor, according to Jim Valvano. Right now they have 2 coaches on the bench. 12:46 to go. Tarkanian in the corner. McLean. Anderson. All over him is Thurl Bailey. Eldridge Hudson. And Eric Booker. He hit the 3-pointer to beat Fresno State. And Eric Booker, who has experience, gives UNLV a 9-point lead, 49-40.
Dick, you take a look at the 8 ball games yesterday. 7 of the seeded teams won. I think they learned their lesson last year when all the teams that got byes were upset.
Steal, and they lost it. But I'll tell you what, I think let's go back to when you watched them in practice yesterday, and you saw how loose they were as opposed to the West Virginia game. And you could sense it yesterday. You said, I think they're going to show us something.
Well, you know, you got the feeling that there was a lot of confidence brewing in this ball club. And besides the fact that they're 28-2, I still think that they've got a lot to prove.
And look at that steal by Tarkanian. This team is all over North Carolina State, and I'm convinced that they're quicker. They have played quicker than NC State. Larry Anderson, now they're not giving him any room. Thurl Bailey, 6'11" on Anderson, who's 6'6".
He very seldom will drive it to the basket. It looked to me like he could have done that down the right side on that occasion.
Sidney Green is fouled. They yell for Goaltending call, and it counts. Basket counts.
Well, this is Danny Tarkanian at his best, and this is just really a poor decision right here. The whistle had blown very early. I believe that was McQueen that went up. And it's just a bad decision. The ball came off the glass, and he knocked it away. This is a big play. Double figure lead.
And Lowe's going to come in the ball game. 3 team fouls on NC State. Biggest lead now. Big story for North Carolina State. Sidney Lowe coming back in with 4 fouls. With 11:40 to go, you're down by 11. Is Valvano bringing him back quickly because he doesn't want to see this thing slip away?
As soon as he went to the bench, UNLV built their biggest lead. I can guarantee you that every coach will tell you, hey, when it's NCAA tournament time, I'm not going to lose with my best on the bench.
You can wait and all of a sudden find yourself waiting a long time.
You know what's interesting? Right before this game started, Lowe came back, was coming onto the floor to warm up. He grabbed me by the arm. He said, don't count us out yet. I think that's what he would tell me right now if he'd come over and talk to me.
Jim Valvano hoping he can pull it out again as he's had so many times. 3 tough games in the ACC finals. Jerry Tarkanian, the master. 11.5 minutes remaining. 12-point lead, the biggest of the ball game. Sidney Green, 17 points. Anderson, 12. Inside for the second effort and stuffing it through to make sure is Lorenzo Charles.
It's so important to score off a timeout, and that possession was very critical.
The rebounding story, very close. Shooting story, 8 for 12 from the field for UNLV in this half, and the man responsible for a lot of it is Anderson. Look at Charles playing like a man possessed inside. And they give it to North Carolina State, down by 10 with 11:04 showing on the clock.
And not surprised that off that timeout, they went to their bread and butter, Derek Wittenberg. Surprisingly, Gannon has not seen any time in the second half.
You're right. And Gannon's a guy that plays in the crucial time for the outside shot. You're right. McLean into Bailey. Thurl Bailey, baseline good. He gets the ball up in a hurry. Good-looking player. Thurl Bailey, best, maybe under-publicized player in the country. We're going to see Gannon. They heard you again. We're live from Gill Coliseum, Corvallis, Oregon. Dick Stockton, Steve Grody, second-round action, West Region. And UNLV with something to prove. Best record in the country. Leading NC State by 8. Larry Anderson with a screen from Booker hits. A hot second half for Anderson, who has 10 points in this second half.
I'll tell you what, that's a pretty shot, isn't it? He's a fun player to watch.
He's out of Pittsburgh and a senior. Not physical. He doesn't go in for the rebound, but he's dead-eye from outside. Watch Low. Ball knocked away. That was Anderson on the steal. Gets the pass back. Tipped up and in. Eldridge Hudson, no. Bailey. Hudson had a couple of chances on a 2-and-1 opportunity for Nevada, Las Vegas. 10-point lead.
Let me tell you, if NC State comes back, they may be looking back to that play right there.
You're right.
Instead of 12, it's 8.
Thurl Bailey. Oh, NC State's in this game. Hey, they were down by 6 with a minute to go. And the best free throw shooter for Pepperdine on the line. Tarkanian drives and misses. So if NC State can come back from that, they can sure come back from 9.5 minutes to go down by 8. That's foul against North Carolina State.
I believe now they're going to call this a block. And I think you're seeing an NC State team now that is much more aggressive offensively. They look much more confident, probably playing as alertly as they have the whole game right now.
You're right. I meant the foul was on UNLV. It was no question. Hudson, his 4th foul. So Hudson's in foul trouble. There's Terry Gannon, the outside threat. Missouri coming back. Iowa still leads in the second half, 56-47 in the Midwest region. The upset, Memphis State over Georgetown. And Indiana leading Oklahoma in the second half by 11. Ohio State over Syracuse, and they'll play North Carolina next week. Tough game. St. John's Rutgers, 3 points. On the line now. Team fouls 7 against UNLV, so penalty time for State, who've committed just 3 themselves. And Lowe will go to the line again. Lowe has 5 points in the game. Keep in mind, he averaged nearly 12, 6 rebounds and 8 assists. So despite foul trouble, he's played an all-around game, better than the other night.
He's played well. And now NC State, I believe, has scored on their last 4 possessions in a row. you get the feeling come game time, they come to play. And that's the feeling I'm getting right now. That NC State's back in the ball game. Things might be turning just a little bit for them.
You saw Cozell McQueen, who came in the ball game. It's now a 6-point lead, was once 12, so NC State has sliced the Rebels' lead in half with plenty of time. 9 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Second half, Tarkanian. Collins is in the game. We haven't seen much of him in this half. And a foul on McQueen. That'll be the 4th team foul against North Carolina State and the 3rd personal on Cozell McQueen. Keep in mind, Sidney Lowe, 4 fouls in the lineup for NC State. So Valvano's going for it here.
You say, what kind of player is Sidney Green? Is he really that good? The guy can go baseline. He can turn into the lane and shoot a jumper. We've seen him hit some 15-footers. Not a bad player to build a program around.
What does UNLV do besides get some decent shots and stop the surge of NC State?
Well, they've won this. They're on top of this ball game because of their defense. Defense is the staple. You take a look at all your good programs, they play good defense all the time. This is what UNLV is going to do. They'll have to do that the remainder of the game. You can expect a lot of pressure from NC State, both offensively and defensively.
Under 9 minutes, Anderson doesn't have the shot. Good defense by Wittenberg there. Gannon on Tarkanian. Brozovic, who's in with 4 fouls. And penetrating inside, the basket counts. And Collins, who has not played much in this half and scored 8 points, or 9 in the first half, now has 12.
They've gotten a lot of help from different people the entire ball game. He left his feet so early. I'm surprised at the NC State people. Watch, he leaves right there. McQueen knows he's coming. Why doesn't he just put his foot on the baseline and take the charge and get good position? Another big play.
4th foul on Cozell McQueen and the 5th team foul on NC State. And here's Jeff Collins, who suffered 2 sprained ankles, not 1 but 2. Late in the year, recovered enough. This is the free throw. Gannon quickly gets it out. 56-48, 8:40 to play. Dick Stockton, Steve Brody. This should come down to the wire. Thurl Bailey. That's what Gannon's known for. Brozovic lost it to Bailey.
And that's what Bailey's known for.
But Brozovic had position, and Brozovic should have held on, but Bailey was there for the mistake. Once again, 6 points. That's as close as NC State has come after being down by 12. Anderson in the corner for Brozovic. Collins, they loop it in. Green, good position. He lost it out of bounds.
Boy, Sidney made a great move. He was going to come with a dipsy doodle reverse. He was in a great position to draw the foul. Lost that ball out of bounds. Chance to come within 4. We're getting to the point in the game now, Dick, where in the first half, NC State was unable to make the big basket. They're all big now, even with 8 minutes to play.
That was only UNLV's 4th turnover in the ball game. They're seeing their lead threatened here, leading by 6. They go to Thurl Bailey over Sidney Green. It's a 4-point game. They're going to Bailey, who has 16 points. He has the rumbling Wolfpack. 7:46 remaining. It's a 4-point game. Rebels lead. Steve, you talked about UNLV having to play that fine defense to maintain the lead as we're looking at the shooting percentages. Has their defense suffered as NC State's come back?
I don't think so. NC State's made tough baskets. They've thrown the ball into Thurl Bailey. He's hit that shot that's not going to be blocked, that little turnaround 12-footer. To me, the key for UNLV, though, has been their tough half-court man-to-man defense. And on the offensive end, we knew from the top of the story that we're going to have Sidney Green and Anderson. But they've gotten help from Collins. He's 5 for 7 from the field. He's chipped in with 12 points. You look at the teams that won yesterday. 6 of the 8 winners had 3 people in double-figure scoring. So
there was always someone else besides the 2 keys, and that's the same for NC State. You have Wittenberg and Bailey. Who's going to be the 3rd if they're going to come back? 7:30. Green double team by the guard. Misses. Collins tried to keep it alive, out of bounds, and the foul is called against Sidney Green, I believe, and it's his 3rd personal. UNLV has been in the penalty, and Valvano says, don't forget, it's 1-1, and so NC State can come within 2 now. We got the feeling, even 2 minutes ago, when the ball game was an 8-point spread, that things have started to turn. NC State now is getting the bounces. They're playing as alertly as they have the entire ball game. They're making the play. Whereas up to this point, it's been UNLV who's made the play. Remember this, as Lorenzo Charles shoots 1-1, that NC State was down by 10 points when Sidney Lowe came back in the ball game with the 4 fouls. And now as the headache begins maybe for Jerry Tarkanian. Lowe's presence has meant so much. Could be a 2-point game.
Jerry, bite that towel. Don't bite your fingernails.
It's a 2-point game, 56-54, 7:25 remaining. Gannon is on Tarkanian, so we have Tarkanian and Collins in the backcourt. Hudson, Anderson, and Green, the starting 5 in there for UNLV.
And on NC State side, they've got the lineup that worked best for them against Pepperdine. The 3 guards with Gannon, Charles, and Bailey. My favorite lineup.
Hudson gets it into Sidney Green. Good pass by Hudson. Don't forget, at the conclusion of today's championship game, Steve Grody and I will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. So that was a big basket.
I was just going to say, you had to be impressed with UNLV on that possession. Came down, 3, 4 crisp passes, isolate Sidney Green, take away defensive help inside for a basket.
Lorenzo Charles misses. Bailey is there. Bailey is asserting himself and has taken over the lead in this game. 18 points for him. Charles has 15, but Bailey has hit his last 5 to keep NC State within 2 points at 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. We're in the second round, West Region, at Gill Coliseum, Corvallis, Oregon. Collins finds Green, and Green comes up again. Green's second effort. Oh! It's on Bailey. Well, you can't tell. And now Green is saying, why don't you give me 2 right now? I don't have to shoot him. He doesn't want to shoot.
Hey,
he wants
it all. He wants it all. This was the basket that put him up 4. Same type of situation now on this one. They rotate the ball on the outside. They take away defensive help. Now Bailey makes a great play there. Intimidates, but doesn't slap and foul. I personally didn't see contact.
I'll tell you what, Sidney Lowe, I think, was fouled out of this ball game. Sidney Lowe.
Wait a minute, they whistled that on the wrong player.
I don't think it was Lowe.
It was on Bailey. I think they're going to correct it right now.
Yeah, I think that you would find a lot of anxiety here. Here's the last play. No, it's definitely Thurl Bailey. Well, I don't know. I think Sidney Lowe is involved.
Well, if it's no, they're going to give him 2 shots.
It has to be the first man.
Yeah, because if it was Lowe, it'd be 1 and 1.
Right. Well, Green wanted the basket. There's Eldridge Hudson.
Eldridge quietly comes into the game.
Sidney Green on the line. He's the key player to this team. All-American, leading scorer and rebounder, 6th in the nation in rebounds. And you can see that he has a chance to match his season's average. 6:11 to go. He has 8 rebounds in the game and has been perfect from the free throw line.
In big games, you need big performances from your big performers.
7 for 7. Yep, from the line. That's right. The stars really come out to shine in these games. 4-point lead, UNLV. Plenty of time, 6:08 to go. NC State, Low. Now Wittenberg, Collins on him. So UNLV has the men. They have 1 in there on their man-to-man defense. Double team Lorenzo Charles.
Now watch the good defense. The ball goes inside. He drops off to help. Oh, they snuck behind him there, though.
I was going to ask you, that was a backdoor play, but was Sidney Green getting in backdoor, which means behind the player on those other looping passes?
Well, here's what happens. Anytime you overplay like that, you're suspect for the backdoor. Bailey now has become such a good offensive player of late, they've got to exert a little more defensive pressure on him.
All right, now we're looking at UNLV kind of open it up a bit. They're a spread now.
Ooh.
They're in a spread early with 5:23 to go. You look at the clock, Tarkanian and Collins. Danny T is the man, the ball handler, who will be the point.
Very often, teams will go into this type of a stall and just run off a couple minutes and then go play. It wouldn't surprise me if they spread them out and look for quick offense.
I'd be surprised if they're going into this for good.
Here it is.
Anderson, Green. Basket counts and a foul. Big play by the big man, Sidney Green. Bailey commits the foul. That is his first personal.
All right, let's take a look at this. Cross-court pass. Anderson got away from people. Once again, intimidation. Let me tell you, Sidney Green has been in the right spot at the right time almost the entire ball game.
Yeah, Charles on his back. 3 red shirts. Look at that.
That 3-point play, it's a backbreaker.
Foul on Bailey was his 3rd personal foul. And the 3-point play gives UNLV a 5-point lead. It was down to 2. And the clock under 5 minutes to go. Sidney lowered the ball. He has 9 assists, and now they're going to talk it over. 4 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. UNLV 63-58. The timeout story. North Carolina State has 3 timeouts remaining. Nevada, Las Vegas has 2. What is the setup?
Well, let's try to think about it. Now, NC State has just come from a 10-point deficit, and until that 3-point play had gotten it down to 2. All right, what was happening? They got a little more aggressive on both boards, which is always important.
They went to Bailey.
They went into Bailey, and they had the ball in Wittenberg's hands a little bit more. Off a timeout, you generally go to your stud. Let's look for either Wittenberg to drive it to the basket or to isolate on one side and go into Bailey. Now, Bailey has been the key man in the comeback. He's hit 2 turnaround jumpers, and he's had offensive rebound baskets on 2 other occasions.
You mentioned Wittenberg. The ball's been in his hands, but not effectively enough. He has scored only 3 points this half for 9 in the game. It's been Charles and Bailey. It's been the front line. We haven't seen Gannon fire away. A team that normally is a perimeter shooting team is exclusively relying on the inside now, it seems.
Well, and Valvano told us that when his front line plays well, they're tough to beat, because they've been inconsistent this year.
That finesse front line?
Yeah, he tried to tell us about his finesse front line, and his finesse front line just went out and pulverized Pepperdine around the basket.
See, all UNLV wants to do, I'm sure, is they're in pretty good control. 5 points is not a huge lead, but the way they're not turning the ball over, if they just wait for the decent shot and don't rush things, they've got things under control.
You're right. Hey, this is fun. He's saying, hey, this is fun. Let's play. We're up 5.
Well, Wittenberg, we talked, has only 3 baskets, Steve, all in the first 7 minutes of the game. They've got to get the ball in his hands to shoot. Gannon, good outside shot. Picked up by Hudson, good drive. Charles, 5-point lead, 4:35 remaining. Wittenberg inside to Bailey. There's the inside play. That will count. The basket good by Thurl Bailey, who has been nothing short of sensational today. Has 20 points, 4 more than his season's average. He had 17 against Pepperdine. Sidney Green has 4 fouls. And now we got to watch Sidney Green for UNLV on defense. And Jerry Tarkanian does not have a big bench to go to.
He doesn't, and believe me, anytime, if you lose Sidney Green for 2 minutes, it's important. He's got to be in the ball game the remainder of the 4 minutes, 32 seconds.
The Runnin Rebels want to advance to Ogden, Utah, in a game against the Runnin Redskins of Utah if they survive this game. 28-2, maybe a team without a lot of respect. They would get it if they beat North Carolina State.
Now, once again, slowing the tempo down a little bit, but they'll look to score. Good.
63-61 timeouts. NC State has 3. UNLV has 2. Each team over the limit and foul.
Now, UNLV has hurt them the last couple times down the floor when they've fronted Sidney Green. I would have to take my chances right now and play behind him, force him to shoot a jumper on me.
Tarkanian using up time, 3:50. We watch the clock. Second half. UNLV's biggest lead was 12. .330. (63-61). UNLV in front. 3:18. Anderson controlling outside. Tarkanian the point guard. Hudson. We want to welcome the viewers who have seen Oklahoma against Indiana in the Midwest region in Evansville, Indiana. And right here, Nevada, Las Vegas has taken a 65-61 lead here at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis, Oregon, with exactly 3 minutes to play. This is Dick Stockton along with Steve Grody. UNLV 28-2, 3rd seeded against North Carolina State, the Atlantic Coast Conference champions, and the 6th seeded team.
Dick, UNLV has been in control throughout. They probably just made their biggest play of the game. Ran off about 1.5 minutes of the clock and hit a big jump shot to go up 4.
That was Larry Anderson, their outside shooter, who has scored 12 points in this half. And NC State missing inside Lorenzo Charles, and now the Runnin Rebels in good control with a 4-point lead and using the clock well. In this game, NC State took an early 12-4 lead, but then UNLV came back, had it up to 12. Big stories is that Sidney Lowe, the point guard for NC State, has 4 fouls. So does Sidney Green, the big man inside for UNLV. And it's been the defense for the Runnin' Rebels that has been the story. And for our audience that has been with us, the final score of that Evansville Mideast Region second round battle, Indiana, without Ted Kitchell, wins 63-49 over Oklahoma. Tarkanian missed the free throw. Foul was on Gannon. And now a 65-63 game.
Wittenberg is so good when he takes the ball to the basket. If they got it in his hands, I think they're more likely to come out on top in this ball game the last 2 minutes.
What happened against Pepperdine in their double overtime win? He was ice cold to the end. He's got 11 points in the game. Here's Sidney Green inside. The basket is good. And a foul, and Sidney Green. But it was the man who made the pass was the freshman Eldridge Hudson from Los Angeles. And the Runnin' Rebels are really running now.
Well, the question is now, can NC State survive again?
Lowe is fouled out. Sidney Lowe is upset. Now he says no.
No, it was on Wittenberg. See, these guys, that foul was on Wittenberg. It's the second time they almost made a mistake. That foul was on Wittenberg.
He's having trouble staying in the game. You're right. Let's see.
Let's take a look now. I hope I'm not wrong.
No, you're right.
That's 25, Wittenberg. It wasn't Low. They've corrected it again.
You were saying.
How many three-point plays can they give up down the stretch and survive and come out on top?
All-American Sidney Green now has 27 points. And Jim Valvano, the fine coach at NC State, doesn't want to see the dream end here as the Wolfpack trail by 5 points with under 2 minutes to play. And it's NC State ball. They are strictly going inside on the Runnin' Rebels now.
Well, they're giving it to Wittenberg, letting him penetrate. He'll either take the shot or get it inside to one of the big people.
Thurl Bailey missed, but Charles comes up with a follow-up. Lorenzo Charles, and now NC State calls a timeout. They will have 2 left. They are in this game for sure. They rally to beat Pepperdine. They're trying to rally right here. We'll be back. You know, everyone gave up on NC State virtually except for themselves the other night, trailing by 6 with a minute to go in overtime against Pepperdine. Came back and won. 3 points with 1:49 is certainly not insurmountable. And this team has shown the gutty resilience all year. In the ACC tournament, they beat Wake Forest by 1, overtime over UNC. And as we continue to talk about NC State and Jim Valvano, the victory over Virginia.
Boy, oh boy, I mean, you'd never convince me that a team could beat North Carolina and Virginia on consecutive nights and maintain their enthusiasm to play in the NCAA tournament. And we'll find out if they can play the last minute and 40 seconds down 3.
Sidney Green 27, Larry Anderson 16, and Hudson is fouled. Those are the high scorers for UNLV. Thurl Bailey 21, Lorenzo Charles 17. That's 10 more than his season's average. And Wittenberg 11. There's the field goal shooting story. Look at what NC State has done in the second half, yet they're still trailing by 3. Hudson going to the line, 67% from the free throw line, and most of the UNLV free throw shooters are range in the 60s. Foul was on Wittenberg, his second. What's Tark thinking now?
Tark's praying. If you look at him right now, he's got his hands over his face now. Thank you. Thank you.
NC State, on the other hand, trying to advance.
You know,
Goggins.
Dick, the one thing about working these games is you don't get to see a lot of them, but you got to believe most of these games come down to the free throws at the end.
Don't they ever?
And he knows his team's going to be on the line down the stretch.
Wittenberg with the ball. That's the man they need with the ball at the shoot. Wittenberg going in. He's got it in 69-67. UNLV each side with 2 timeouts remaining, and a foul as Booker all over him was Derek Wittenberg, and that will be a foul on Derek, and going to the line to shoot will be Eric Booker. This is UNLV has to hit the free throws. Making 1 out of 2 isn't going to help them at this point.
Dick, correct me if I'm wrong, but when Derek Wittenberg gets the ball and takes it to the basket, that's when they're at their best.
Yes.
Thank you.
Here is Eric Booker shooting 1-1. This is the front end. So UNLV missing crucial free throws here, and North Carolina State with an opportunity to tie the game. 1:14 and running. Sidney Lowe playing with 4 fouls. Wittenberg all over him is Larry Anderson. Wittenberg drives and is fouled. 1:03 remaining. 69-67, Nevada, Las Vegas in front. Larry Anderson commits the foul. Welcome to Gill Coliseum, Corvallis, Oregon. You're looking at a second-round West Region battle, and look at that battle. UNLV leading NC State 69-67. Derek Wittenberg misses a chance to tie the game as he fails on the front end of the 1-and-1. Less than a minute to go. You've been watching Iowa and Missouri, the Midwest region in Louisville, Kentucky.
I'm sorry, Dick. It's been UNLV in control the whole ball game. They've been coming back the last 4 minutes from a 10-point deficit.
Now Gannon and Booker pushing each other, and Sidney Lowe says, you're going to have to contend with me. You don't want to mess with Sidney Lowe. He looks like he's one of those squat fullbacks. Now what's happened here is that UNLV, after an early setback, trailing early, came on, and with great man-to-man defense and the play of Sidney Green, have dominated the game, as you've said.
They really have. It's been Sidney Green in the right spot at the right time throughout the ball game. Anderson got a hot hand to open the second half to get him the big lead. And it's been Davis off the bench who's chipped in with 12, 14 points.
For our audience, Iowa beat Missouri. But right now on the line, Booker shooting 1-and-1 with 48 seconds to go. Eric Booker gives UNLV confidence with his experience. He came from USF. That personal foul was on Gannon. He made 1 of 2. UNLV has been missing important free throws down the stretch. Can North Carolina State take advantage of it? Thurl Bailey hits the shot, and timeout NC State. They'll have 1 left. Thurl Bailey and Wittenberg, along with Charles, have been key. Thurl Bailey has 23 points, 15 in this half. And UNLV is allowing NC State to creep back by not making all their free throws.
True, and I'm wondering, maybe UNLV goes into a zone defense. Now, the last 3 or 4 times down the floor, it's been Wittenberg from the wing, driving baseline. Nobody can contain him. He's either gone to the foul line, made the shot, or gotten it off to to Bailey. I don't know.
Derek Wittenberg, who came on strong toward the end of the Pepperdine game after a poor early start, has done it the opposite here. He had most of his points early on, has 13 right now. The biggest lead in the ball game, as you look at Wittenberg, was 12 points by UNLV, and they whittle it down to 2, and NC State within range here.
And for those of you who did not see the Pepperdine game, you're seeing the same kind of performance down the stretch in that ball game that Wittenberg is giving you in this game. He wants the ball now. You know how those great players are, Dick. When the game gets on the line, they get that look in their eyes. Wittenberg's got it. When he gets the ball, they're at their best right now.
And Thurl Bailey also. There is Derek Wittenberg, who broke his foot and missed 14 games for NC State this year. Now, keep in mind, this is the closest the Wolfpack have come since the middle of the first half, when UNLV had a 20-19 lead. Bailey, the other man, contributing well in this game, leading scorer and rebounder. UNLV ball, 36 seconds to go, and now coming into the ball game is McLean, the guard.
And they're going to take Sidney Lowe out because obviously they have to foul. Lowe's got 4 fouls. Right. As soon as they foul, he'll come back in the ball game.
Gannon this time, but it could have been George McLean.
Now, Lowe will come back in and run the offense.
I would venture to guess that if UNLV, as Lowe comes back in, if UNLV had hit all of their free throws, this game would be iced at this time.
Well, it's tough to hit them down a stretch now, but remember, NC State, on the other hand, throughout the ball game has had a tough time from the free throw line.
Yes.
And that's probably the only thing that these two teams haven't done well. It's been a very well-played ball game, very few turnovers. I think in the final analysis,
Eldridge Hudson misses the free throw, so they continue to miss free throws. 25 seconds, 70-69, and UNLV with a 1-point lead. And North Carolina State. UNLV has missed 5 free throws in the last 5 minutes. It has hurt them. And right now, this game for them is in jeopardy. And the Wolfpack trying to pull another one out. Derek Wittenberg. This is outside. Thurl Bailey rebounds. Bailey again. It's good. And a timeout called. NC State lead. 17 points for Bailey this half. He's got 25 in the game. And a lead for NC State that they haven't seen since early in the first half.
All right, let's take a look at the biggest play of the ball game. I was a little surprised that they waited so long to go to the basket. I'll tell you what, when these plays work, you look like a genius. If they don't work, you say, Jimmy, why did you wait so long? It's been Thurl Bailey on the offensive board down the stretches who's played such a big role in their comeback. When's the last time they were on top of this game?
What did Jerry Tarkanian say yesterday? He says, I don't know, I'm going into a game in which I'm not going to get any rebounds.
That's what he said. He had to feel that way. If you'd have seen NC State play against Pepperdine, they are a strong team around the boards, both offensively and defensively.
Bailey has had 4 offensive rebounds down the stretch, leading to 7 points. So maybe Jerry Tarkanian was not right. They got a lot of rebounds, but it's the key rebounds. And Bailey has really been a super performer. The senior from Seat Pleasant, Maryland, at 6'11", has been a hero today for North Carolina State. The question is, can they make it count? Let's see that play again. It was terrific second effort.
Well, the play speaks for itself. He takes the shot, and they get the offensive rebound. Now, the play is coming up now.
Here we go.
NC State just does not want to let them get a long pass.
3 seconds. Booker calls timeout. Booker calls a timeout with 2 seconds to go. And now it's in the hands of Jerry Tarkanian. 1 timeout remaining for UNLV. Oh, they have none. That was their last timeout, and 1 for NC State. And they've got it with 2 seconds to go, set it up here.
Well, you got to remember how these clocks work. When a clock says 3, there's less than 3 seconds left. When it says 2, call timeout quickly enough. He wanted 3 seconds back on there. But I thought that they let them get that original pass in a little bit too far up the court. Now, a good inbounds pass, and they're within 25 feet.
All right, now.
Uh-oh.
You know you got Green. He's done it for them today. Sidney Green, 27 points. You take a chance and go outside. You find a Larry Anderson. If you're UNLV, if you're North Carolina State, it may be easy. What do you do if you're Nevada, Las Vegas?
Well, obviously, you'd like to think you're going to be able to get it to Green on a lob inside. You got to believe, though, that NC State will prevent that pass. Otherwise, you want Anderson to get open for the shot. But believe me, it's kind of a scramble situation. The first guy that gets the ball is going to have to take a quick dribble and shoot it. I'm
not saying you should know, because, you know, you don't have to be right about this. Okay, keep in mind now that Eric Booker, the junior, has got experience, played at USF, was last week's hero against Fresno State when he hit a 3-point play to beat Fresno State. Now, NC State wants to talk it over again, and that is their last timeout. So the timeouts have been exhausted. 2 seconds to go. And right now, we're going to give you a chance to catch your breath. And we'll be back here at Corvallis, Oregon in a moment. Two seconds to go. 71-70 NC State. And UNLV has the ball. Getting ready for the exciting finish. The executive producer of NCAA Sports is Kevin O'Malley. The game produced well today by Rick Lasavita, directed superbly by Larry Cavallina. Joan Vetrano, our associate producer, Brooks Graham, Scott Johnson. A fine job from everyone, including our statistician and right-hand man, Marty Aronoff. We have 2 seconds to go, 71-70. Watch for Eric Booker, but it could go many ways.
Well, we'll take a look at the whole floor here now and see how they set up under the basket.
2 seconds. Hudson gets it into Booker. Booker fires it up, and it's over everything. The game is over. NC State triumphs again. How many more can NC State take? 2 dramatic Wolfpack wins over Pepperdine Friday and Nevada, Las Vegas, who held the lead most of the way, and a pat on the back for Jerry Tarkanian. His team played well. Booker misses. What do you think, Steve?
Well, Sidney Lowe's words were prophetic at the beginning of the game. He said, don't count us out yet, buddy. You almost did it against Pepperdine. They're survivors. Are they a team of destiny?
They sure are. UNLV goes home. They're eliminated, and North Carolina State will move on to Ogden, Utah, to go against the Utah Runnin' Rebels in the regionals, or I should say Runnin' Redskins next week. Final score 71-70. NC State victor right